Today, SeaWorld is
Many years ago, one man believed that indeed two worlds could come together. This singular idea, echoing through these many years, has allowed us to build a unique relationship with this magnificent creature. A wondrous connection, reminding us that all things are possible.
We know this. Children saw this, waiting for a SeaWorld water show, waiting to see the majesty of the world's largest whale in captivity, a 13,000-pound killer whale. Instead, they got a first-hand look at the violent and deadly world of nature in its rawest form.
It's one of the world's most popular amusement parks, with 6 million visitors annually. It was in front of hundreds of horrified spectators in the Shamu Stadium that 40-year-old Dawn Brancheau died. She was one of the park's most experienced trainers.
She was standing on the rocks right above the viewing area. He jumped out, he took off, and then he came back, he jumped off, grabbed her, started thrashing around, and then her shoe fell off. I mean, he was thrashing her around pretty good.
I must emphasize this is an extraordinarily difficult time for the SeaWorld Parks and our team members. Nothing is more important than the safety of our employees, guests, and in the animals entrusted to our care. We have never in the history of our parks experienced an incident like this, and all of our standard operating procedures will come under review as part of this investigation.
With no apparent warning, the killer whale grabs his feet and pulls him underwater for close to a minute. Then it brings him to the surface where the trainer pets the whale, tries to calm it, only to be yanked down again.
In 1987 at San Diego's SeaWorld, a whale named Orky landed on his trainer John Sillick. The impact broke his spine and crushed his internal organs, but Sillick survived. This is one of the last pictures ever taken of Quito and his trainer Alexis Martinez. Quito, while on loan from SeaWorld Orlando on Christmas Day 2009, killed Martinez. And then there's this video from SeaWorld San Antonio, a violent illustration of what a killer whale can do when motivated.
And yesterday afternoon, with a horrified audience watching, the whale grabbed a veteran trainer by the ponytail and thrashed her around the pool before dragging her under. She is the third person Tilikum the whale has killed.
He's blamed for the 1991 drowning of a trainer at Canada's Sealand. Then, in 1999, a man slipped into the whale's pool. He died of hypothermia, but had bruises and bite marks.
Ray insists that many times in her experience, orcas broke off from their trainers, acting out in a sense. And in the 2006 video, the whale finally releases Peters, who scrambles from the pool and staggers away with a broken foot.
I think that Kasaka was trying to make a point. Once they finally come to the surface that first time, she's making a point by keeping him captive like that.
The New Hampshire family have been videotaping the whole thing right up to the last moment before veteran trainer Dawn Brancheau was killed by Tilikum. These are the last few seconds her husband recorded before the attack.
Then I saw her hair in his mouth, and he rolled, and she went over the top of him and went right up underneath.
And I screamed, and she screamed, and then I started yelling to the other trainer because he wasn't looking. I said, he just took her down, he took her down. And I got more infuriated when I came home and saw the spokesperson for SeaWorld saying she slipped and fell into the tank, which was not what happened at all.
Today, OSHA blasted SeaWorld for willfully putting its trainers at risk and fined the park $75,000, the maximum fine for the violation.
In its report, OSHA said SeaWorld recognized the inherent risk of allowing to interact with potentially dangerous animals. And SeaWorld required its employees to work within the pool walls, on ledges, and on shelves where they were subject to dangerous behavior by the animals.
I want to make sure that it is investigated and that the safety of the team members who remain is not jeopardized. I think that if they're put into that close proximity, it could easily happen again.
SeaWorld disputes that, saying that its training is top-notch and that its trainers are as safe as they can be.
The attorney for OSHA says SeaWorld trains its trainers on what behaviors to be aware of and how to amend or alter those behaviors, then tells trainers their safety is dependent on their own training and skill. It says more protection is needed, a barrier between trainers and the whales. PETA was here to protest SeaWorld and say OSHA's got it right when it says trainers should not be in the water with killer whales.
By forcing these animals to live in unnatural and unhealthy environments, they are creating a stressful environment for the animals and a dangerous situation for the human beings.
Swimming with 8,000-pound killer whales, as a human being, our bodies are not designed to do that.
I'm not going to disagree with the fact that close contact with the whales is probably better for them when they're in captivity, but basically what it comes down to is to maximize animal welfare, you have to compromise trainer safety. To maximize trainer safety, you have to compromise animal welfare.
And again, this hearing is expected to last all week, with OSHA continuing to work toward this theory that SeaWorld knew there was a calculated risk of injury or death, but put trainers in the water with the whales anyway. While SeaWorld will say that it has elaborate training procedures in place, that their trainers did a great job of modifying whale behavior and staying safe themselves, and that Dawn Brancheau's death was an isolated incident. Reporting live in Seminole County, David.